Hello, and welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 on the hardest possible rule set, starting as the Duke of Champagne in 1178. So a number of events in the last episode. In particular, we were elected the Holy Roman Emperor. This was a bit of a surprise because I had checked and we were fifth in line and second in line, and there was a quite devastating consumption, apocalyptic plague that seemed to have eliminated both the emperor, or empress actually, and the other contenders, leaving us on the throne. We then faced a number of factions that we were able to bribe and give artifacts to avoid, and then at the very end of the episode we were attacked by a scourge conqueror here, the Ayyubids, who already own much of Italy. They're going for some of the remaining parts. So one thing I want to point out here, I talked before about, I want to be clear when I make mistakes. I'm not going to reboot or restart or cause my computer to crash, anything of that nature, to avoid the consequences of my errors. Instead, we'll just play through them. And here I do want to point out a very obvious mistake I made in the last episode, which is one of the easiest ways to get your vassals to like you more is to avoid obvious penalties. One of those is having more duchies than your limit of 2. Here we have duchies that we could have easily given away that would have significantly improved our vassals' opinion of us. Failing to do that was simply a mistake. There's no two ways about it. I will give away these vassals now. I generally don't like giving titles, duchy titles, to theocratic rulers. Just looking for someone who's relatively powerful here, but I'm not seeing it. We'll simply go with this woman. We'll grant her Champagne. And so, to some extent, all of the careful work I did in terms of bribing people and giving them artifacts and so forth would not have been necessary if I would have paid attention to the number of duchies I was holding. So that was something very important. First time when there is a succession, in every succession to be clear, first thing you should do is look to see if you're over the duchy limit. You also want to look if you're over the domain limit, because each holding over the domain limit is a -10 to your vassal's opinion of you. Now, we're playing with -3 domain limit. That means sometimes, particularly in succession, we were going to want to hold more domain than the limit we have, on the idea that as our character improves over time, his or her domain limit will come up. And I think that's a fair decision, but something you want to be cognizant of and careful about. So I think these remaining 3, even though I'm over, I actually want to hold on to these. So I will just take the current -15 penalty, but when I was making all those moves last episode, I was at a -45 penalty. As you just saw, I could have easily gotten rid of -30 of that penalty and significantly improved my position. Next thing to talk about is this war and our character. As you can see, we're significantly outnumbered now, and it's going to be against a Scourge Conqueror, who's relatively old but still in good health because he has whole of body in addition to other traits. Doesn't even look like he has a older trait yet, despite being 72. So he may be around for a while. There's a real question here about how much I want to fight this war. And I think it's going to be tough for a couple of reasons. One is that we're going to be fighting with very large armies, I'm going to need somewhere to resupply, and I don't have a whole lot of room to do that. I mean, there's some of the supply limit here is okay, so maybe I could make my stand here, but you can see most of the area is surrounded by his territory already, so that's going to make things challenging. Another point is that 5 years from now, I'm going to be much more powerful militarily for a number of different reasons. One being that we are currently researching or have a fascination with standing armies. That substantially increases the size of my regiments, gives me another men-at-arms regiment, and so I'll be much stronger just because of that. We're also very close to getting another dynasty legacy, which will be private army. Again, max men-at-arms regiment +1, so that will make us stronger. In roughly 3 years, we'll be able to hold another grand tournament. That should get my character's hostile looter experience up across all 4 of these paths. All 4 of them give military benefits, but in particular, foot experience, if you're at the maximum, increases the size of your men-at-arms regiments by 2. And so again, 5 years from now, we're going to have close to double the men-at-arms that we have now. That should, I'm hoping, make a decisive difference in fighting a war against the Ayyubids or the Abbasids over here, or even the Castilians, who are also scourge conquerors, or the Baltic Empire. That is, again, a scourge conqueror. So we are, unfortunately, we have at least 4 scourge conquerors around us. That's going to be quite challenging. If you have 1 scourge conqueror, then the easy answer is pledge tribute to them. Then they won't attack you. And often, with enough work, you can get a tribute relationship where you're not really paying them anything, though it just operates as a perpetual peace treaty. But with 4 around you, you can't really do that. I'm hoping that the Baltic Empire and Castile, who have significantly smaller armies than I do, will hold off and not attack me. There is a big concern about the Abbasids here. They have a much larger army. They may look at me and say, hey, you're at war, good time to attack you. Possible saving grace is that their ruler is in bad shape with consumption, fragile bones, being 72. He doesn't have a whole body or anything, so he may be in worse shape. That said, I think there are good reasons to avoid fighting the Ayyubids. I think we might as well give it a try. If we lose, we'll just surrender, disband armies, and that's that. We don't really take too much pain in raising our armies. We have making over almost 470 gold here. We raise our men-at-arms. They'll probably be probably cost another 70, so we'll go down to a little bit under 400. That's still very strong income. And who knows, maybe we'll actually win and inflict a defeat on this Ayyubid Scourge Conqueror. If a Scourge Conqueror loses 3 wars, then he or she ceases to be a Scourge Conqueror, which would be a great advantage. I think I also want to look like, I don't think I can look at, but I think I can change it now, is that want to get by the sword. So we know it costs 10,500. We are maxed out on our number of traditions, and so buy the sword because it's going to cost extra. We just have to keep an eye on our prestige. We do want that now. This character is really designed for something different than ruling the Holy Roman Empire. Instead, the plan was that he would slowly expand within the empire using sanctioned loopholes, and that he would be a vassal instead of the ruler. But obviously that has changed here. And so given that change, I think we also want to take a look at his lifestyle focus. Currently on learning, again, made sense, get sanctioned loopholes. Scholar tree is very powerful. I was thinking here about getting more piety, since we need piety to buy claims and for other reasons. But I think now we may want to do is change to chivalry, go martial, and have ourselves as an option for a general when we have to fight these scourge conquerors. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to particularly indicating to stalwart leader first, and then we're going to go bellum justum because we have to try to get engineer for destruction, and then living off the land. Living off the land is extremely important because it allows you to be more flexible regarding your supply. Often the AI conquerors will split their armies, into quite tiny sizes if they need to maintain supply. That allows you to swoop in, attack one, and as they gather, often they'll just be feeding into you as you destroy army after army. And so living off the land is very powerful. It's one of the first perks I always go for. Here, just want stalwart leaders so I don't die. Other thing that we can look at is we are currently betrothed to our niece, who is quite young. We are handsome and Herculean, but we don't have any trait of intelligence. So what I wanted to look at is, are there any genius women around who we might marry us now that we are the Holy Roman Emperor? Answer seems to be no. Okay, well, and in that case, I mean, obviously, you did see that there is this, 37-year-old woman. Unfortunately, she's lowborn, so that would cost us quite a bit of legitimacy. She does have relatively good stats, but I think I would just rather stick with our niece here, who you can see is intelligent and also Amazonian. So all of our children should be either Amazonian or Herculean, and then we're going to be hoping that they have some level of intelligence or physical beauty trait. Okay, so with that, what we're going to be doing here, we're going to save our money for mercenaries to make a real stab at the Ayyubids as they invade us. We're just going to be looking for when the Ayyubids appear. In terms of the land they're attacking, it's this county. I don't think I can do anything about it. There's just no supply for me around. Obviously, their counties are there. Up here, I think we can make more of a stand. And one thing that's quite important there is, our culture. We have stand and fight, which you can see gives the defender advantage of +8. So we'll take advantage of that. And also stalwart defenders, which gives more defender advantage. So you really want the first fight to be in our territory. Ideally, when we're defending, if we can get them to cross the river, even better. But general strategy here is for them to attack us on our territory. So having said all that, let's go forward and see where they're coming from. I'm guessing, yeah, so sometimes, a little bit of a bug when you first load in the game doesn't calculate military strength correctly, but you can see here there actually are no factions that are threatening us. But what is threatening us is this Scourge Conqueror. Talked before about I don't go to coordinations with other people anyway. I just don't find them very useful. If it's your liege, that's a different story, but of course we don't have a liege. And so what we're really focused on here is preparing and being ready in case when the Ayyubids eventually appear. For this, I have kept this on organized army for a long time for the raised army maintenance decrease because we didn't have as much gold, but now we're part the Emperor of the HRE. We have plenty of gold. I think we go to train commanders because we're really relying on our men-at-arms, and the more powerful they are, the more effective we're going to be. The more likely we'll be able to beat back the Ayyubids in this war. I guess we can do this. It's sort of a waste of gold. Again, not going to anyone's coronation. We'll just go through here with our learning. I think we are learning character, so we should be able to get through there quite quickly. I also want to look at our titles. There are a lot of titles here. I like holding kingdom level titles. So let's go ahead and make all these before someone else does. one of our vassals gets it. And that will also give us a lot of prestige, give us a lot of fame, hopefully knock us up to the next level or close to it. And then as we talked about, we can change our culture to get by the sword, and it'll take a while, but we'll be in position to start attacking these scourge conquerors in around 5 years when we get that significant spike to our army power. So our current heir is this son that I talked about, that I literally did not know we had. And if you look here, his parents, he doesn't seem to have a mother. So I guess he sprang fully formed from my forehead. I almost think what might have happened is when I became HRE Emperor, because I only have daughters, and daughters cannot inherit by election the title of HRE Emperor, that they just gave me a son. They meaning, the game just produced a son for me with no mother. So it's a bit strange. One thing we do want to do when we get the opportunity is go to primogeniture. We will do that now. Also, since all our vassals love us, since we remembered to give away a couple duchy titles. So now we don't have to worry about succession splitting our realm anymore. See, we're a lot closer to the, I think it was 10,500. We need to change our culture to get by the sword. And now we're making a good bit of prestige. Guess we can make Westphalia as well. This is an empire title, but again, we have primogeniture, shouldn't be an issue. Let's see about getting another accolade here. I mean, the knights we can use for accolades are not really that great. A lancer would be good. Let's see if we can invite knights, not for a few months. Guess let's check a few more just in case. Okay, well, guess what? You'll be our lancer. Guess you're currently someone's jester, probably mine. But now, I think getting some more armed horsemen. Again, we should be getting a couple more regiment slots here. We get another regiment of armed horsemen, and maybe the house guard or something else. We already have 3 regiments of crossbowmen, one being the retinue crossbowmen, so I don't think I need any more of those. We have 3 regiments of heavy infantry, including the retinue vanguard. So if we get some retinue armored horsemen, that would be great. Then we'd have to think about what the other regiment we want to be. Talked about before, I usually only have 1 regiment of siege equipment. That's because playing at this difficulty level, you really need to actually have an army that can beat other armies in the field. On standard difficulty, you can have half or even 2/3 of your army consist of siege equipment, but here you just can't do that. Okay, so we can see they created their army here. Probably going to take that 1 county and then head up to me. I think let's start. We do have a couple allies that we can call in. That crown reminds me that we need to check whether our Reichskrone is on, which obviously it's not. This is this amazing journal that gives us 40% experience from an adventure decision. We certainly want to keep it well repaired. Don't want to lose it. I think we'll just go with that last option. Don't want to spend 900 gold. So let's see here. Okay, we called in our allies. Let's also call in some special mercenaries. Now, these can be very powerful. Want one at full strength. I think you're limited to 3 here. See, some of these have been completely depleted, like that one. Go here. And again, we're just going to be waiting. You know, they're going to siege down that. Nothing we're going to be able to do about it. When they come up here, yeah, we'll see what we can do. Persecuted flagellants. I'd rather have control growth. Popular opinion. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Okay, I did assign me as the commander. I may have raised too close to them. See if we can attack them there. Okay. So their ruler has not loaded in yet, I don't think. I meant to hire Holy Order, so let's do that. Maybe we can grab regular mercenaries, which is really expensive. Now, the problem is that Scourge Conquerors move so fast. We are not going to win. Okay. You see here we have a pretty good advantage of 51. Fortunately, they have 77. See, a big chunk of that comes from this guy being a scourge-of-the-gods, which is plus 25. Also, every ruler, every AI ruler leading their own armies on very hard gets a plus 10. So combined, he's going to have a plus 30 advantage. Every Scourge Conqueror will when they're fighting me. And without that, I think we win this war. But we're not going to do it with them having such a large advantage. Send this knight over here somewhere. You know, it's possible with our mercenaries and our allies that we'll do better. We'll just have to see. But obviously, the first engagement did not go well. Let's see about the second engagement. Let's move here and see if we can get them to attack us. Maybe we can catch, nope. Maybe we can catch some of them, no. Okay, well, they caught me, that's unfortunate. Certainly give her ambitious. I think we may win this one, though. See if we can make her forgiving. Also have our study a language. Other daughter here, we should also be educating. Okay, so we are clearly going to win this battle here. I talked before about I don't like having people come and change my religion. Try to quickly unsiege here. You know, we need to be really cognizant of our supply. Try to unsiege this as well. Okay, here they come again, of course. Let's see if we can attack them. Jeez. So siege conquerors just, they move so quickly and they siege so fast. This is what makes them so challenging. He does not seem terribly interested in fighting me. Wonder if we can catch. Nope, we will not be able to. Yeah, maybe. Okay. One of the things ideally you would want to do is have a, have a martial character, be an exalted warlord yourself, because then you get a movement speed advantage as well as siege speed, which is very useful. Let's see if we can smash this army over here at least. Okay, someone's giving tribute. I certainly underestimated the cost of our armies, but we're still making some gold, so that's okay. Probably going to come up behind us to the north here. Some of their armies are starving too. Let's go back and I think they're trying to get more supply, dancing around a bit. Okay, we are going to be starving here. But let's see if we can get one of their armies. Okay. Now we'll see how this goes. We aren't fighting in our own territory, which is unfortunate. And he just has a massive advantage, of course, but we are going to win. We really need to try to resupply. So this is not necessarily the most enjoyable part of CK3 in terms of managing supply. Indeed, one might think it's kind of tedious, but it makes a huge difference in terms of your advantage, and for us to have a realistic chance of beating the Scourge Conqueror is something we need to do. So hopefully we can get a little bit of supply, except our allies are standing on me. Here they come again, so we will need to recombine. And this is where I was talking about living off the land really makes a difference. So at least we're not starving at the moment. Hopefully we can catch them. Yes, okay. Guess we're considered to be the attackers here. It's unfortunate, but so So now we're at the point where if we wanted to, we could get a white piece, I think. But let's see if we can go farther. Actually beat him. It's too bad. I mean, we used to have a very large army. Ideally, there would be more supply here, but unless you're in Constantinople or Rome, you're going to have to be splitting up your army, given the size of our army here. We could have also really just raised our men-at-arms and not so much all of our levies, but again, we really need every advantage here. So here they come again. Let's recombine. Attack them again here. Okay, I think we'll be doing okay here. Take this for the development growth, even though it's horrifically expensive. Hopefully we'll. Okay, so we're at 82%. So that's quite good. And again, we will click on each of our individual armies to maneuver them to try to get some supply. And then be ready. Hopefully, if we can inflict one more solid defeat on them, that will give us the victory in the war. And again, that will be very punishing for him because of our being a stalwart defender. So I don't want the stress here. Won't be too mean to her. Looks like he's gone to siege territories that are not the war target, but it will give him some more score. I think he is going to have to come back up to fight me at some point. He does still have a lot of gold that he could bring in mercenaries. See what he does after he completes the siege. He is going to go to sea. Okay, that's a choice. No alliance there, so I think that's really no point in accepting that. Okay, I mean, if he's coming to sea, we'll see where he ends up. Start recombining here. And try to catch him. Okay, now he's reconsidering. He's reconsidering again. We'll wait for. Okay, I think he's committed now. We will go up there and see if we can get him again. We should have, so you can, hopefully our armies get here. So you can see now, recently disembarked -30, so that's really countering some of his advantages. We should be much stronger here. Talked before about what martial perks I want. Really wish I had living off the land right now, but we will get it soon, I believe. Fortunately, because he took those 2 counties in the south, I think this will not end the war. But it did cost him a good bit of his army. Again, we will split up and resupply. Okay, they're already coming back here. We will recombine. We are attacking over a river, but I think we caught his armies. And that is a stack wipe. So, He still has plenty of gold. He could hire mercenaries. Because we're playing on very hard, his forces, his levies at least, regenerate at quadruple the speed than in a normal game. But at the moment, his armies aren't here, except for some allies over there. So we will start sieging his territories here. Also fight that last army over there. And I think we should be in good shape here. We're ambitious again. You know, without the Scourge Conqueror leading them, you know, these are his allies. They're much less fearsome. Their armies are neither as fast, and in particular, they can't siege as quickly. So we are in much better shape. I think because we are a stalwart defender, we only need to get up to 90%. This is to cement one of our alliances. My hope is that when I marry my betrothed, we'll have some heirs that can satisfy the strengthen the bloodlines decision, and there we go. But you know, for now, just have a couple daughters and this mystery son. But I think we'll be okay. You know, my character is Herculean, so he should live quite a while. After we get some of the martial perks, we can go back to learning. So, wow. That is far and away the most amount of gold I've ever seen someone have to pay. I remember one time I was used stalwart defenders to defeat a Scourge Conqueror. I got paid 10,000 gold, and I assumed 10,000 gold was the limit. Then more recently, I defeated one and got 20,000 gold. You know, these were in games, that I didn't record. But you know, this is almost 75,000. Just far and away the most I've ever seen. I mean, because literally the most I'd seen before this was a little under 20,000. Indeed, that is such a beating that... Let's take a look at him here. So you can see he is horrifically in debt. Now, that does present an opportunity, right? Someone in debt will not be able to hire more mercenaries. They have a penalty to their advantage. And if their armies take damage in battles, their armies cannot regenerate, cannot restore men. So I think let's check out our tips here. Sort of pay some more attention to the kingdom, things we may have been neglecting, such as our heirs. Make sure everything is sort of the way we want it to be. We have some powerful decisions that we could take, actually, we may want to do. Will cause some stress here. But what I am considering is launching my kingdom level holy war to attack the Ayyubids now. So the most obvious reason is they're somewhat vulnerable, being negative 50,000 in debt, so they won't be as effective fighting against me. Also, he just lost one war. If we can inflict another defeat on him, that means he'll have lost 2 wars. And I don't know what else happened in this guy's life. It's possible he lost the war earlier on, and if not, we could still be around 5 years from now and inflict a 3rd defeat on him. Also very notable here that this very large Abbasid Empire seems to have lost their Scourge Conqueror, and they are now in a world of hurt despite having a large number of troops. So that empire may be about to collapse. Mali down here. I think that at one point they were a Scourge Conqueror. They're now ruled by a 5-year-old. That's not good for them. Castile did have a successful succession, so they are now ruled by a much younger Scourge Conqueror. My hope is that the fact that we have triple their army size will dissuade them from attacking us. Interesting that he's asexual. And then this woman up here in the Baltic Empire, still a concern, but again, our army is whatever 4.5 times her size, so I hope again that discourages her from attacking me. Let's look at our decisions, go through those, think about what we want to do, and we want to consider trying to take back Italy here, or maybe a different kingdom. Okay, we can hold a grand tournament if we wanted to, so Inspire Opus Francigenum. Again, I apologize for butchering. So get absolute crown authority, get peerage, which again, vassal tax contribution, always good, along with positive vassal opinion. So this costs a lot of prestige. It's going to be a bit longer before we're going to have enough to get by the sword, but I think it's worth it. Right about to get standing armies. Literally days left to standing army, so let's get that first. Guess we'll give her this terrible nickname. Checking on our betrothed. Guess we could invite her to court and educate her, which is not creepy at all. Some good traits. That's my girl. I usually don't hold court, so adopting a centralized bureaucracy, I think that is something we'll want to do. I do want to get standing armies first, and then for the Ayyubids here, I guess there are two schools of thought here, right? One being, so another way to lose Conqueror is if you don't wage any offensive wars for 10 years. At the moment, he's making 300 gold, so that's 300 and, what is that? So that's 3,600 gold each year. If his gold income stays the same, he would make 36,000 gold over 10 years. He'd still be negative gold. Even if you are a Scourge Conqueror, you cannot declare war if you're in debt. So one thought would be we just leave him alone. He's going to be in debt for so long that he'll lose the Scourge Conqueror trait that way. We can go about our business, do whatever we want. So that that certainly is an option. I don't know that it's the option I necessarily want to take. But if we were going to do that, then we go ahead, adopt a centralized bureaucracy now. But I think instead we will get standing armies. We are going to improve all of our men-at-arms here. Now I'm going to hold off, I think, on creating another men-at-arms regiment for now. So we'll be at 8 of 9. The reason for that is when we do adopt a centralized bureaucracy, which we almost certainly are going to do this episode, our men-at-arms limit is going to drop by 2. So we go down to 7. And there is a significant penalty for being over that in terms of extra gold cost for men-at-arms. So what we will do then is destroy our trebuchets. That'll get us down to 7-7, and then we will rebuild the trebuchets as part of our title armies for the Holy Roman Empire and our duchies. And so we'll have the trebuchets, but I want to reserve these slots in our main army. The regiment limit is much higher here, and so I want to have my best troops, any retinue troops and so forth, as part of the main army here. The trebuchets can go somewhere else. The idea is eventually that we are going to be relying, that we'll have martial characters ruling our realm, and we're really going to be relying on traits like engineer for destruction and sappers for our speed. The other thing we can do now that I think we might as well is to host a grand tournament. This should almost certainly get us to max level in foot. I want to see what else I need here. Definitely want bow and wit. Okay. So I think what we'll do here, we'll start with both of the wit exercises. Then we will do archery, and then joust and melee. These two give a lot of experience, particularly melee, so good to do them last. Of course, we have just an enormous amount of gold that we got for winning that last war. So I think even ex-ante fighting that war was the right choice, but obviously now with the amount of gold we got, it was clearly the right choice ex-post. Might as well build some military academies here, since we do hold the duchy title. Could also think about building military academies in our capital, replacing the tax collectors. But I do like lots of gold, so let's check our tips here, make sure nothing. I usually don't join wars against my tributaries, just fend for themselves. Of course, I forgot we also have this oath to ensure peace. We do want to complete that at some point. Tactician is good. Monthly martial lifestyle experience. Increased martial, men-at-arms counter efficiency. All good stuff there. This guy. So what's this one? I think I may have lied when I said the retinue lancers are just so good. Let's go ahead and max them out. Even though if we're going to be fighting in Italy, that's largely mountains, so they will be less effective, but still. Modify contracts to get more gold. Making sure that we use our hook. That would be a horrific mistake not to use the hook. Okay. More gold, all good. Our son here has no, this is our rather weird son who has no mother and has no genetic traits. Guess we can marry her with this intelligent woman. Again, the hope is I do not play him, but instead, with my betrothed, I get some better heirs. So I think what we do here is, we're going to do this tournament, turn around, Great Holy War, or not Great Holy War, but Kingdom level Holy War for Italy, and then we try to ensure peace for the next 5 years. And move on from there. That's not a bad fascination, but let's look around. Let's go with plate armor for the extra toughness, just to improve our troops as much as possible. And then as we're ensuring peace, I'm very likely to change to an administrative government. Usually I don't like changing to administrative government till have over 200 counties. Obviously we are well over that. Also, somewhat strangely, in administrative government, your vassals are often better at defending themselves than in a feudal government. One thing, when you get over 160 counties in your realm, foreign opponents can attack your vassals without bringing you into the war. So that allows foreign enemies just to pick off your vassals, and administrative vassals, for whatever reason, seem to be better at fending off those kinds of wars. I assume what they're doing is calling in troops from their co-vassals, which is more difficult to do if you are feudal. Let's go with the highest outcome here. Most score. We'll flip the coin. Again, want to focus on increasing our score as much as we can. If you win, you get more hostile looter experience, which is really what we want here. Also, obviously, if you win, you get very powerful artifacts. I usually try to get the most expensive grand tournament I can, since the artifact seems to be so helpful. Generally don't try to sabotage people. Here, I guess we'll do this to avoid stress. Our options for cheating have quite poor percentages, so we won't do it. I'm not averse to cheating if there's like a 90% or higher chance of success, and it won't give us massive stress. Guess we'll try this. So we win again. It's not a very good night. If you were like a 25 or 30 prowess knight, that would be different, of course. Don't think we need this building. Put us over our domain limit. We will want to, assuming here we wage kingdom level holy war, We will want to keep Siena because it has an amazing building here. One of the 5 special universities in the world. But that requires us to get through this tournament and then be able to beat that Scourge Conqueror. Sometimes you go to the temple too much, it sort of bugs out. Don't think we'll have living off the land by the time we launch this war, but that would have been nice. Especially in the mountains, we're likely to lose a lot of supply quickly. So we find another excellent female knight. We want her to bring in another knight to our court, which this should do it. And the courtiers you bring in to your court through marriage have a maximum of 12 for all their stats. As part of playing on very hard. But having a knight with a 12 prowess is better than having a knight with, or not having any knight at all. So can't remember if I have the astronomer trait that you get from the temple event that gives you extra. Okay, I do. All right. So I can stop going to the temple as much. I don't really want to get a rival or someone, and don't need to. There's no advantage for me, so guess I'll get the prestige here. I think let's get the prestige again. Hopefully I can still win. Yes. Check on our court here and make sure it's all filled out. Particularly want to make sure I had a royal architect, increase building speed. I think it's simply this character's mother, who was queen, was I think completed the entire stewardship lifestyle, including being an architect, and she has built buildings much faster than this character. So it does seem like buying buildings are taking a long time, but I think it's just as I got used to her very quick building speed. It feels weird to have this slower building speed with a non-architect, non-stewardship character. Void stress. I think keep the peace is generally good here, so let's see if we can get it. Yeah, diplomacy and prestige, so yeah, that's good. That works. And the melee is always a bit of a coin flip. Don't know that matters too much. I think I still have my weapon, but let's be sure. Yes, there's probably an argument I should be switching to this Mace of God. Wow. Okay, I was about to say there should be an argument that I should switch this Mace of God just for tournaments. Probably an argument I should just keep it equipped always, so we'll do that. Big increase to our prowess. And we won again, even though the melee is notoriously difficult to predict. So we won all the events again. Let's see what we got. That's good. It's okay. I think we need furniture, so okay, we'll check our trinkets and display our other piece of furniture. This is someone submitting to my suzerainty. Guess I was about to vassalize him. I could have decided to reject his tribute and then try to vassalize him or attack him later, but just accept the tribute and the gold. Now our trinkets, let's take a look. Two purple ones I'm wearing now really aren't that great, frankly. They're okay. Certainly rather have that one. Don't know why it doesn't fill the open slot, but okay. Don't think, well, the prestige is nice on that one. So looking really for knight effectiveness, such as that. I think that's good. Still don't have regalia. Get one eventually. Yeah, let's take another look here. Huh. So he lost his Scourge Conqueror trait. Interesting. Yep, so yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why, actually. The abbesses are fractured, so I mean, he owns a very large kingdom, or realm, I should say. There's a reasonably high chance that it just splits apart. Now that he's less of a threat, I almost think, just to let him go and, finish our ensure peace oath here. So I think I probably won't attack him now. Okay, I do have enough prestige. I want to change astute diplomats to buy the sword. I mean, it's going to take quite a while, but obviously buy the sword is very powerful. Say one other thing, that you can do to pacify your vassals upon succession is grant vassals to rightful liege. So, frankly, whenever there's a succession and you are have factions forming against you, vassals might rebel. Come to your tips first and look. Am I holding too many duchies? Can I grant vassals a rightful liege? Am I over the domain limit and in a way that I'm willing to accept giving away domain? Really should look at those three things first before the stuff I talked about in the prior episode, which is sending gifts if you have the money, and sending artifacts. You can also grant titles if necessary. Okay. So we become a centralized bureaucracy. We are going to lose the ability to go on grand tours. Guess let's go on a grand tour. It's debatable. Generally want to go on visit higher ranked people, which again for me is going to be dukes, since I try to hold all king level titles myself. quite expensive. I did say Majesty Tour, yes. I do want more prestige. I don't need an increase to our starting success. 10 stops should easily get us to the maximum success. We're going through the Alps a few times, so we certainly want some mountaineers because the Alps are dangerous. And then I think let's go faster. And all that looks good. Okay. Bit odd, our very first stop. So this one will do this. I mean, when you take those events, 90% of the time, the mayor just tries to rob you. So let's get more prestige. So I think the plan is, obviously do this grand tour. Once it is complete, I think we will change our government type to administrative. I think that's my brother or uncle died. Uncle, okay. Take the gold. Even though we have lots of gold, could always have more gold. Really never a time I don't want more gold. I guess if I have more than 200,000 gold and an income of 1,000 a month or more, that's probably enough. You could consider starting a legend. We have legends on very expensive and they spread very slowly. So what happens is usually the first rank of a legend is 300 gold a month, second is either 500 or 600, and then to get a mythical legend, you're paying 800 gold a month. So there's extremely expensive, but I think we actually could afford one here if we wanted to do one. I guess let's just check, see what our options are. You also have a setting on that limits the number of legends that are formed, so we only have one option here in terms of a holy legend. Don't think we need that now. Obviously I shouldn't say obviously, but one of the most important things for the holy legend is the evangelize to the realm decision, which can very quickly convert large swaths of your realm to your religion. But here, most of our realm should already be Catholic, so there's no need to do that. On the other hand, the more renown we get, the better. I think we'll just avoid that penalty, and we're likely to fail, so let's take the stress. When I say penalty, I mean the nosy liege penalty there, which we had an almost 9% chance to get if we tried to snoop around. Take the stress loss and another courtier. Usually I tear these down to avoid the development penalty, though given the stress hit, that's more debatable. See, we're really increasing the size of our armies, and of course it's mostly levies, but still that will help. Sure, I can pet my dog. So one thing I often talk about is I want to play until I am indisputably the most powerful ruler in the world. And here we are quite strong. I mean, we're over 200,000 men. To some extent we've improved by default because The Ayyubids without a Scourge Conqueror were definitely more powerful than them, even though he's still holding it together. Doesn't seem to have any rebellions despite being in such massive debt. It looks like he will get out of debt sooner than we thought. The Persian Empire, again, no Scourge Conqueror. They seem to be sort of falling apart. China, this massive empire is led by a Scourge Conqueror. I guess I'd make a decision about how I compare my strength to theirs and really how long I want to play this campaign after we take some more decisions, see how strong we get. But after spending so much time landless early in this campaign, it really is sort of surprising how quickly we have become so powerful. Talked about this before. Don't like changing the religion in my counties. I do like lots of piety, so explain the decision there. Get more taxes from him. Part of these levies and the increase in monthly income is likely because we are on absolute crown authority, and so our vassals can't spend time fighting each other or even fighting foreign enemies and getting invaded and getting sieged and having their control and development decrease. So there's an example of someone attacking one of my vassals. Nothing I can do about it, at least for 3 years. And that's because of the size of my realm. Because I'm well over 160 counties. The law for my protection of my vassals changes from guaranteed protection, which means I join any war where someone tries to attack my vassal, to conditional join, which means I think I have to wait 3 years to join if someone attacks my vassal, so long as none of my own domain is in the duchy or area that's being attacked. And we talked about one thing that actually seems to help with that, strangely enough, is becoming administrative. That administrative rulers are better at defending themselves from being attacked by foreigners who declare war just on the vassal. So this is a combination of me getting to max foot experience in the hostile trait and also building that military academy. And for the Lancers, also our Lancer Accolade Knight getting more experience. But see here, we're going to be significantly more powerful in terms of our soldiers and men-at-arms. Take this middle one since it's the least amount of stress. This decision, I guess we'll go with the first one because we have lots of gold. Really doesn't seem worth it. And if I am poor, I definitely gone with the bottom decision. But do have lots of gold, so I think it's okay to go and pay money to the war widows. This noble tutoring, more lifestyle experience. I love lifestyle experience, so have to do this. While we're running around here, let's look at our ward. Let's see if we make her ambitious. Gives her stats, and of course, since eventually she will be my wife, it'll give me some stats. And again, not creepy at all that she's my ward. Just what went on in the Middle Ages. We've gotten quite a bit of renown from our grand tournament and this grand tour. Obviously happy to increase the opinion of 22 vassals. I don't, on the one hand, I wish they weren't fighting because it reduces control, potentially development growth. On the other hand, I don't care that much. Window taxes, you rarely succeed in getting them, not worth the stress. We'll keep going on this tree, just has lots of benefits, including if we get to sappers, that would be great. Don't know that we will, given that we're a learning education character, and so it's we're going to be moving more slowly. Oh, 61 stress. Okay, that massive amount of stress has made me avoid that decision. If I were significantly poor, maybe I would just eat the stress and hope it didn't turn into another stress break, but I have enough gold that I don't need to do that. So we finished our tour, 1,000 prestige, 600 renown, and enough renown to get private army, which is very good because it's just in time for us to lose some of our regiment, a couple of our regiment slots. Okay. So about a year and a half or so to finish our oath. See if we can vassalize here. We can improve some accolades. Okay, that's good. That is also good. Let's let it run here. Guess we'll take the piety. Once we have vassalized these people, there's no one else who we can vassalize. Maybe we can do her, vassalize her later. Alright, let's check out some of these decisions. The main one I'm interested in here is adopt centralized bureaucracy. So you get this lawgiver trait, which is quite useful. Our character is still relatively young, so you can make good use of it. It does take a lot of gold, prestige, that's okay. We have that, and I think this will overall make us even stronger. Obviously, we're going with administrative. Upgrade our estate to start with. We want to fill out everything we can here. In particular, I want to get the buildings here that will give extra monthly lifestyle experience. For our other buildings, we'll likely look to the ones that improve our military the most. given where we are in the game. Beyond that, as we get more influence, we'll likely try to convince anyone who did not become administrative to become administrative. Then we want to check here. Looks like most of yeah. So we want to assign administration types. Generally what I do is I like going for naval if I can. You can see here naval gives a coastal advantage, gives development growth advantage, also has a duchy expansion called the Spelli, so it really helps your vassals both militarily and economically. If it's not available, I like going frontier. Sometimes you can't change it. If neither frontier nor naval is available, then okay, so Bohemia just then you can look into either civilian or military. It really sort of depends on how powerful your own military is and what you want to do. If you have a relatively weak military, then you can bolster it by turning your vassals into military provinces. And then you can call in their armies when you go to war. So where is this palace? I mean, I think it's quite far away from the front line, so we'll just make them civilian. So another thing I do is, the closer, if I can't do naval or frontier, I consider how close the person is to any our borders and how likely they are to be able to contribute troops. So Messens, probably civilian. I don't need gold as much anymore. I mean, I still want to have plenty of it. So I think I'll probably largely make these provinces civilian when I can't make them frontier or naval. And the other thing is to make them imperial, which I guess we could do here. We only get one of these. I mean, it's decent benefits, so it's probably worth having. See, if you really want to do this, there is a fair amount of micromanagement involved. Wouldn't be surprised if someone has created a mod to handle it, but I prefer playing without any mods. So when you see me play here is no mods, but all DLC. that's enough for now. So the unassigned provinces are the ones that I have, and here, we can see that there are quite a few that have not become administrative yet. So let's take a look. So you can see here are, now we're making almost 1,000 treasury, almost 1,500 income. So combined, 1,500, so well above what we were making before. Can ask our head of faith for influence and also an increase to our monthly influence. Here we can use our influence to vassalize. Curious what great project developed communities. How expensive is it? Very, unsurprisingly. I think we'll pass on it for now. Yeah, everything is still being built in my domain. So we'll continue on here. I think we need to go to someone else's feast. I think I will host a hunt. Simply falconry. Go to the swan sighting. We'll want to get experienced captains so we don't drown crossing the channel, which of course historically has happened. And in game often happens. I shouldn't say often exactly, but happens more than you would think. Guess we can make her chaste for the virtue. Check on our wards here. So when our physicians fail, I usually chastise them. I think that gives better results later on. Of course, now we can pretty much build whatever buildings we want, regardless of their cost. I think like some of the max level windmills are like 4,000 or something, but we'll build them and use them for as long as we're playing. So less than a year for our oath. So there's our nephew, who you can see would satisfy the decision to take the strong blood, but not sure there's any way we could have him become our heir. Just stick with what we're doing currently. When we get enough prestige, I will want to clear the title restriction on the Holy Roman Empire. That will remove princely elective, meaning I could select one of my daughters to be my heir. Also, also to increase my administrative power. So that's also going to require a good amount of prestige. partly why I'm going on this hunt. I want more prestige. Is our physician just bad or what? Oh, he's okay. Not sure what's going on there. So we'll encourage development. See if there's anyone else. Okay, unfortunately we did not succeed. Got a little bit of prestige, but not much. I think when we get back, we'll hold a feast. You can see here for hostile looter experience, I've maxed out everything except bow, archery. So we are over our limit, meaning that we are paying 20% extra, but frankly, it's not really affecting us. So almost a question of, why bother changing it? Let's get, but we do want to fill out our provincial armies here. Some trebuchets, and then let's go armored footmen, crossbowmen, armored horsemen. This one we will do siege equipment, and then armored footmen and crossbowmen. This one we will do siege equipment, crossbowmen, and armored horsemen. And then for this one we'll do trebuchets, and we will do armored footmen and armored horsemen. Now I think we do have a truly fearsome army. One that should be easily capable of taking on scourge conquerors if there were any still major ones still near us, which, for better or worse, our major two opponents have lost their scourge conqueror traits. So on the one hand, that's good for us in that it makes it far less likely that they can defeat us. On the other hand, it's a little bit sad since would have liked to attack them and test our mettle. Obviously we got the one chance in defending, but would have also liked to have taken some of their territory when they were still scourge conquerors, just to show dominance. Let's go ahead and max out our grandeur, our amenities if we haven't already. We have an intrigue court. That's interesting. I think let's go. Well, maybe let's go diplomatic court. See if we can get some more vassals, and probably after a while of that, we'll switch over to scholarly court. guess let's participate. I assume whoever we are not going to do the Fourth Crusade. Really don't have any good people to select as our beneficiary. And I assume the Pope is going to take the kingdom level title, so whoever the beneficiary is going to get much. You can see here that some of the Ayyubids empire and part of it that's in Italy is already starting to fall apart. Not particularly surprising. We will uncheck adopt feudal ways, as we will never do that for the rest of the game. At least unless there's some incredibly rare circumstance. Ensure peace, domain limit +1, every realm county, development growth +250, just an incredibly powerful decision. Now that we've completed our oath, we are free to attack. I think after this feast completes, I will call it here. Playing for quite a while. Obviously, we've accomplished quite a lot. Most in particular is defeating that Scourge Conqueror of the Ayyubids early on. To me, one of the most enjoyable parts of playing at this level of difficulty is defeating the Scourge Conquerors. Especially given the size of his armies, it really took some doing and thinking. Using our resources strategically, getting mercenaries and so forth, thinking about terrain and supply, all of that to be able to successfully defeat him early on. Since then, we've gotten more and more powerful. Talked before about my win condition is when I am indisputably the most powerful ruler in the realm. I thought that was quite far away, even like two or three episodes ago, but now I do think it's getting quite a bit closer. So we'll, I think, continue playing at least one more episode, so see what happens. And I hope you've enjoyed watching. Thank you very much for joining me, and goodbye.